Hello, everybody. I am down here in the Rehoboth Beach area, and we are going to be talking to various people today to find out what it is that they don't like about the Russians and Americans speaking to one another. I am Vik Peerson. Follow me.
This is Russian Kollusion with Slav Vik Peerson.
Okay. So, well, we just like to take the footage, uninterrupted footage, and put it on like YouTube or wherever, so just everyone can have different discussions. And oh, yes. Did they won the Super Bowl?
Yes, they did.
You ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Against Tom Brady. How about
yes. The greatest of all time.
that? No longer.
Hello, everybody. I'm sitting here with
Gene.
And Steve.
And Gene and Steve. And we're just talking, we just briefly touched on politics a little bit. You said you'd like to move everyone in there out.
Just about everybody, yes.
Is there any specific policy change that you find worse than all the others, or have like a top three? Or
They're all bad. Someone asked me that once before, and I couldn't choose. They were so bad.
Okay.
Top of my list, of course, is immigration. My father was Mexican, a citizen. He was a citizen, but his whole family came from Mexico. And so, of course, I feel for them. And I don't like what's going on. And I tell people we were all immigrants at one time.
Yeah.
And if it weren't for the immigrants, we wouldn't have what we have today.
And people don't understand how expensive it is to come, and almost impossible to come here legally. And from the countries that they're coming from now, they need paperwork. Well, who has any paperwork in Honduras, Mm-hmm. So and they're afraid they'll be murdered in their sleep. So they take the risk of coming and hope for the best. Mm-hmm. And this is supposed to be a safe haven in which to fall anyway. So what's going on?
That's how I always viewed it, safe place to be. Do you... I'm trying to make sure I think of the right way to phrase things.
Are we against Trump? Yes.
Okay. You are? Okay.
Very.
Yes,
Yeah,
very much
I was
so.
born and raised a Republican, and when he won, I had to change my, denomination. I just couldn't even believe it.
Okay.
So, and no one can believe it, really. And we have friends that travel to Europe and everything, and everyone's asking what happened. And we want to know, too. Well, we do know now. It was the Russians. So, okay, you're not Russian, are you?
Well,
You anyway.
I am Russian, actually, but that's actually like part of concern is we want to make sure nobody looks at the people, focus on the people, not the leaders.
The leaders,
Oh, sure. I mean, that's the way it should be throughout the world. They look at Trump and they say, oh, Americans are terrible. No, we're not. Trump is terrible, not us.
Yeah, some of us.
Some of
are
us.
not, yeah.
Like one in Russian areas and stuff in Eastern Europe, we believe that it doesn't matter who people vote for right now, they're not equally bad for country.
And apparently we don't have control over it with the way that they've structured the voting segments in America and then the outside sources. And it was very frightening when we heard that Trump and his family were meeting behind closed doors with the Russians, who have always been people we haven't trusted and have been, not you.
No, I'm just joking.
But
That's what we want to show everybody. Not everybody's bad.
well, no, but like you said, the higher ups are so bad that they make it not nice for you either.
For me?
Well, I don't know.
This
about
is
you.
much nicer than where I was.
But I mean, when I was growing up, I would see the supermarkets were only open once in a while in Russia, and they'd have one potato And I mean, it was rotten, and I've always felt sad for the Russian people, and they're hard workers too, right?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean,
I mean, look at you.
it is a Monday. We should be
Even at the
working,
beach.
right? Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Is that enough?
Yes, that's plenty, but I want to keep asking.
Okay.
My thing to say too is, you've got Trump who's against the immigration. What about his wife?
Well, and his wives
What's
and
his
and
wife?
his father, and I mean, like us, he was an immigrant too. He's there's something wrong with him though. We understand that he's sick. What we don't like is that the other people aren't trying to get him out, that we voted in also. So come November, they're going to be in for a rudening.
So you think the best way to fight is with ballot, like
Yes,
voting?
Well, it's
Voting-
the only way really that'll make a difference.
Right.
Yeah, so we have to get people out. But I'll say that the Trump supporters, they basically were probably nice people. I know some, and they are nice and still are. But he got to their soul and their sanity, and he stole their soul and their sanity with the way that he behaves and the racism and all the stuff that he says. It's just terrible.
My biggest problem with supporting Trump is he is influenced by Zionist money, and I'm not.
science. He doesn't know anything about
Oh no, not Zionist.
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 Zion. Oh,
Talking
yes,
about
okay.
Israel.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess so. But here's the
Oh, I
thing.
don't think he's in-
He
Oh, not all of Israel, like just the Zionist Israel.
he has
Zionist
too much-
Israel, different than not all of Israel.
Too much to hide. He wouldn't show his tax returns because probably the money came from Russia. He's gone bankrupt here how many times, and no one will loan him any money anymore. So he has to go to some other country to get money.
Goes to China, goes
Yeah.
to Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the biggest other things that are his problem is what he's doing with the tariffs with the other countries, with Europe.
Already today, the United States and the European Union have a $1 trillion bilateral trade relationship, the largest economic relationship anywhere in the world. We want to further strengthen this trade relationship to the benefit of all American and European citizens. This is why we agreed today, first of all, to work together towards zero tariffs, zero non-tariff barriers, and zero subsidies on non-auto industrial goods. Thank you. This will open markets for farmers and workers, increase investment, and lead to greater prosperity in both the United States and the European Union. It will also make trade fairer and more reciprocal. My favorite word, reciprocal.
As long as we are negotiating, unless one party would stop the negotiations, we will hold off further tariffs and reassess existing tariffs on steel and aluminium. This was a good, constructive meeting. Thank you, Donald.
I just want to conclude by saying this was a very big day for free and fair trade.
And with Canada,
NAFTA, look, it's been a terrible deal for the United States. People are starting to see it. Canada doesn't they're very restrictive as to taking our agricultural product and other things. We don't charge tariffs, essentially. They charge 5 times what we charge for tariffs. And I believe in the word reciprocal. You're going to charge 5 times, we're going to charge 5 times.
and with Mexico,
We have to make the deals fair. With Mexico, as an example, we probably lose $130 billion a year. Now, for years I've been saying, for the last year and a half, I've been saying 71 billion, but it's really not. And they have a VAT tax of 16%, and we don't have a tax. And at some point, we have to get stronger and smarter, because we cannot continue to lose that kind of money with one country. I have great respect for President Xi, by the way. So I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming Mexico. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm blaming us because we did such a poor job for so many years. I'm not just talking about President Obama. I'm talking about many presidents. For 30 years, 35 years.
We weren't at the summit. We weren't allowed to be at the G8 summit. And Trump, I guess, was the only person who said Russia should have a seat at the table to listen.
Russia should be in this meeting. Why are we having a meeting without Russia being in the meeting?
Which I agree. I do agree with that. But he said, well, I'm sorry, I lost train of thought. He said, why don't we open up free trade?
I don't know. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and it makes
He
it so
says open up
confusing
free
for everybody
trade.
else.
His next breath is let's
Yeah.
stop this free
Yeah.
trade.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing they ever did. And the next
and it's
breath
been
he says,
ruining
let's-
America and all that. But
talks here,
what the problem is, if you're educated at all on anything, he was like now fighting with Canada, who's like, we go back and forth to Canada for lunch, and the situation is now that we actually were better off with Canada than they were with us. But he doesn't even know that, or does he even care, or any of that. He just wants to pick a fight.
The United States has moved forward with significant tariffs on our steel and aluminum industry, and I highlighted that it was not helping in our renegotiation of NAFTA, and that it would be with regret, but it would be with absolute certainty and firmness that we move forward with retaliatory measures on July 1st, applying equivalent tariffs to the ones that the Americans have unjustly applied to us.
It's close to $100 billion a year loss with Canada. They don't take our farm products, many of them. They charge what was 270%, but somebody told me the other day that a few months ago they raised it to 295% for dairy products. And it's very unfair to our farmers, and it's very unfair to the people of our country, the workers, the farmers, the companies. And we are not able to trade. They have tremendous barriers up. They have tremendous tariffs. So when I put in a countervailing tariff just to get us up a little bit so the balance isn't so much, it's like this. They said, oh, that's so terrible. I said, what's terrible? We have to catch you a little bit. We have to have a little balance.
There's nothing good to say about the man. I'm really sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
You can tell
That's a lot of info.
Yeah.
tell everybody we wanted to vote for Kasich.
Kasich.
Kasich is who we wanted
Yeah.
to vote for.
Okay. Who is Kasich?
That
He was
was
the governor of Ohio, and he was running against Trump.
A lot of people were running, but they never got a chance to talk during the debates because they set up some sort of a rule where if a candidate's name was mentioned, then that candidate got to talk. So everybody was mentioning Trump. So he was the only one who actually talked. And not true.
It
So
was bad.
I think I heard.
enough.
No, I heard Ben Carson talk one time.
Yeah,
I liked Ben Carson.
too. But you know, they all have skeletons in their closets. You know, they just do. And because the way politics are set up, they have to have money in order to even try to win. And so they get the money in ways that aren't the best. And I don't know. It's very messed up. Okay, and we really Clinton. We really did want her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tell everybody we wanted to vote for Kasich.
And there were so many little girls, that were disappointed. And then to win or to be beaten by Trump, of all people, when she was so qualified.
I don't believe that she is qualified. I don't think that you are qualified if you get $15 million from Wall Street through your super PAC. I don't think you are qualified if you have voted for the disastrous war in Iraq.
4 months later.
Hillary Clinton will make an outstanding president.
And all you have to do is take a look at WikiLeaks and just see what they said about Bernie Sanders and see what Deborah Wasserman Schultz had in mind. Because Bernie Sanders, between superdelegates and Deborah Wasserman Schultz, he never had a chance. And I was so surprised to see him sign on with the devil.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
And it just shows that a man doesn't have to be qualified and can still win out a woman that is, so I don't know.
She well, what did she do before?
Well, she was secretary.
He was businessman.
No, she's been in politics since she was in college.
Oh.
Yes, and she was Secretary of State to Obama, who we loved, and and all kinds of things. And then she was First Lady while her husband was president. And I mean, her credentials are just absolutely lengthy. So. It was just a terrible shame. It was, people went into depression, you know, except the people who are racist, and then they were happy because Trump got in, and now they can be racist in public too.
Be free to be racist.
That's it.
Yes.
I think a significant number of African Americans will support Trump because of the entertainment fact that he has, that he, you know, persona, he's a businessman.
He is the only man who has been successful.
He is a job creator.
I support Donald Trump.
We want this country to be great again.
We all American.
I'm a Trump supporter.
I've waken up, I've seen the truth.
We have been being lied to.
Who? By whom?
By the current group of politicians.
I don't want hell. I want freedom.
I've been seeing all this opposition coming from Bernie and Hillary supporters and sitting there talking about we're liberal, we're loving, we just want peace, yet they throw eggs at you and punch you in the mouth because they're peaceful and loving.
So I just want to say to
Gene.
and
Steve.
Gene and Steve, thank you very
Meet
much.
you at the polls.
All right. Thank you very much. It's been a very good time.
Go Eagles. Go Eagles and go Phillies.
All right.
Thank you for watching the entire video. You obviously enjoyed it. If you would like to see more, you will listen to the next song and you will get the message. Thank you again for watching. Goodbye.
Give me a